Hey guys, I'm Round 1 Fight, and this is my reaction to Simon the Digger versus Kyle Rayner, Gurren Lagann versus DC's White Lantern, Death Battle. I'm pretty excited for this one. The match I always thought was kind of cool, though admittedly not as more other ones that I wanted. It's probably one of the better DC versus non-Marvel options around right now, and I'm psyched it's finally happening. In the time between this episode getting announced and it airing, I've actually watched Gurren Lagann. It's the first anime in a long while that I've sat down and watched to its completion, partially due to how short it was. And it was a pretty fun experience, even though it felt kind of rushed or weird in some areas. A few of the characters were annoying. Episodes, but it's a good experience. I'm probably rooting for Simon, because I don't really know much about Kyle. To be honest, all their abilities are like encyclopedias, so I'm excited to learn more about them and who's actually going to win this. Who knows? Anyway, let's go! Nice! That's interesting.
Simon the Digger, Kyle Rayner, the White Lantern. Two men born of Earth with the willpower to pierce the heavens and conquer infinity.
I like that better, where they actually take the time to like slow down and say their names without just being Simon the Digger versus Kyle Rayner and all that rush crap. I prefer that.
Deep underground, Jiha village lived in dreary isolation.
3 times skip Gurren Lagann was amazing. Rest of it, kinda.
The young man who would lead his comrades into the sunlight at last.
Kamina's so cool. Though I'm guessing that is just a bargain bin take, because everybody says that.
He was there too, I guess.
Simon was a
Alright, 21. Pronounced Simon is a mangaka in another universe. Like Nia, just like Paperwork Authority, the Anti-Spiral. Fair. Hermit. Yeah, he's currently Hermit. Of the Studio Trigger animes I've watched, this is infinitely better than Kill la Kill.
But the sky was by no means the limit. The surface was ruled by the cruel chimeric beastmen, and Kamina would lead his compatriots against
No idea why that story was so long in that one instance.
Scoring a second mech in the process, aptly named Gurren.
And as befits Kamina and Simon's unbreakable brotherly bond, Gurren and Lagann merged, creating Gurren Lagann.
With
really cool transformation animation and whatnot.
These two were unstoppable.
Of all the giant fighting robots in all the animes across history, Gurren Lagann might just be the absolute coolest, fueled by its pilot's willpower.
It runs on willpower, drill, sunglasses, boomerang, energy blasts. That's cool.
Including missiles, a jetpack,
I'm assuming they're going to do this for each and every one thing of Simon's mechs, which is going to be hilarious.
And everyone's favorite, the Giga Drill Bureku. Side note, it's so funny that the only thing they could think of was drills. That's like if I made booze or something, my whole personality.
Yeah, imagine that.
Awesome power, laid waste to
also, apparently this episode's pretty long, so that's cool. Like, 25 minutes maybe?
The Beastman King, Lord Janot.
Until Kamina died. Oh, wait.
Yeah, I knew it was happening, but I still wasn't ready for it, man.
And it was all
Same with
Simon's
Keaton.
fault. He let his willpower waver, and his soul brother paid the price. After all, he was just a humble digger, at home in the darkness, guided solely by the light of Kamina's spirit.
So his big bro left him with these final words. Have faith in the Simon who believes in you.
I love that methodology quote. That believe in the me that believes in you, all of that stuff. I love that.
Who found Lagann, Simon who pierced the surface, and Simon who would now lead humanity to victory.
Especially with his gal pal Nia
Best girl.
at his side, who helped pull him out of his rut and kick Lord Genome's ass.
That was also a pretty cool reversal.
Only lasted 7 years before the anti-spiral attack.
Unimaginably powerful godlike aliens, the anti-spiral feared humanity's potential, what they dubbed the spiral nemesis.
Remember how Gurren Lagann runs on spirit? Turns out that's just a manifestation of spiral power, an energy that all spiral beings, like humans, have. That's right.
Like a Puta.
Physics run on chutzpah.
Just as the spiral turned inward represents endless obsession and madness, the spiral turned outward spins forever into infinity, The perfect representation of humanity's evolutionary potential.
Yeah.
Potential Simon would use as he led Team
Evolution is a
Gurren
big
across
thing
the
in
multiverse
Gurren
to
Lagann for
take
some
the
reason.
fight to the
Anti-Spiral looks so cool.
And this is when Gurren Lagann gets crazy.
Yeah.
Channeling spiral power lets you constantly adapt to threats, no matter how overwhelming.
Yep.
Simon can create
Spiral
portals to
power,
different
blah, blah, blah.
realities and
Cool.
higher dimensions. He can generate force fields, absorb energy attacks, and even merge Gurren Lagann with bigger and stronger
Incomprehensibly big.
Creating the
Drill size the
Gurren
observable
Lagann,
universe.
which is strong enough to shatter space and time with a punch.
Or the Super Galaxy Gurren
Yep.
Lagann, which can fire
Crazy
lasers
names.
that are fast enough to hit, and I quote, all time, space, and dimension, all within a Planck instant.
That's the smallest unit of time physically possible.
Meaning each laser would have to be moving 4.6 times 10 to the 117th power times
Oh!
light.
Oh.
Oh, well, looks like this wins the award for fastest calculated speed
Ha.
in our show's history. Congratulations, Gurren Lagann.
Move over, SpongeBob. You've been dethroned.
Oh, man, that's
and
hilarious.
The guidebook says they hit an innumerable number of enemies across infinite universes. You literally cannot calculate how fast that
Yep,
is.
infinite.
It wasn't enough to escape the anti-spiral's greatest trap, the multiverse labyrinth.
Hmm.
An attack that imprisons Simon in his own unique multiverse, forced to experience an infinite number of alternate realities that controlled his mind, permanently arresting him in a dream world.
Except Simon and his spiral power are just built different.
Yep.
And after being inspired by his bro, Simon absorbed that whole multiverse to escape.
What makes this even more impressive is that this labyrinth
this
was
translation
11
error
dimensional, meaning
and
Simon absorbed
two full
a
dimensions,
higher
okay.
dimensional structure several orders of infinity greater than himself. The jump between dimensions is basically
Oh, yeah.
infinite.
DT.
Each new dimension adds a new direction of space that extends infinitely. Thus, an
Oh, infinite was there.
gap in size and scope.
What?
Oh, we're just getting started. Imagine
Hmm.
a two-dimensional drawing interacting with a three-dimensional
Oh.
Okay. That's not too far off from what actually happened.
Huh.
Because when Simon absorbed the multiverse labyrinth, he merged with every alternate universe version of himself, including an alternate universe Simon who is writing his own alternate universe version of Gurren Lagann. And that author's spiral power made his fictional Simon real.
All
adding
right.
another to the mix.
Reality
Wait,
fiction,
if
all that.
every human being has spiral power, you're telling me we can all do this shit?
This all gave our Simone enough spiral power to form the next step in mecha evolution, Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann.
This is when Gurren Lagann gets actually fucking crazy.
Fair.
Like shooting missiles that alter probabilities so they have a 100% chance of hitting you, or tossing galaxies.
Makes multiple
around
references
like
to brain
frisbees.
theory and higher dimensional
Sometimes
concepts that are
galaxies,
consistent with
I
author
meant
statements that these galaxies are in fact
universes.
universes.
Simon's power was
Huh.
so immense that he started generating super spiral space, a higher dimension encompassing our own universe.
With it, Simon turns
Higher
his
dimensional
thoughts
nature, an
into
interview can-
reality, letting him create
could manifest
his
in the
mech and
three-dimensional
all of his
real world.
weapons in the
Huh.
first place.
Not only does this mean he no longer needs co-pilots, he can also regenerate any damage done to him or his mech just by willing it back into existence.
Like when Lord Genome used spiral power to survive quantum breakdown, or the time Nia, now the best wife in the universe,
Okay, he
used
should
spiral
scale
power
all
to
this.
constantly regenerate her body
Also
from
best wife in the
being
universe
erased
and existence
to
resistance.
informational level
Cool.
for 7 days straight.
Information in physics is essentially the ones and zeros that make up every possible outcome in reality. Nia literally regenerated from the statistical certainty of her own destruction.
If I have spiral power, whiz, when the
Huh.
fuck is my leg
Oh
growing?
man.
When even this was not enough for the anti-spiral, Simon evolved one more time.
Into Super Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann!
I didn't see that in
So
the English
big,
dub,
its
so
size is literally incalculable. And with a drill somehow even larger than that, Simon and his friends shattered the anti-spiral once and for all.
Hey, cruel indifference of the universe! Meet the indomitable human spirit!
yep.
Proving Kamina's words prophetic, that Simon's drill is the drill that would pierce the heavens.
With no more worlds left to conquer, Simon chose to wander the earth for the rest of his days, in service to others.
Always looking up, for all the lights in the sky are stars, and every star another world of spiral cousins that can live free.
All thanks to a humble digger.
Yeah, that was great. Simon's so cool.
The universe is a dangerous place.
Pretty sure they'll have him win with all that, but who knows? Let's see.
One really pissed off cat.
Deckstar is
to call.
Deckstar is so good.
Lantern Corps. They're the Space Fuzz, an intergalactic police force founded billions of years ago by blue leprechaun gods.
And the greatest Green Lantern among them was everyone's favorite, Hal Jordan.
You
Yep.
know him. You love him. You might hate him.
Screw Ben 10. Screw him.
The man with a will as unbreakable as Hal.
Genuinely, his fans are so freaking annoying.
Broke.
After his hometown got completely obliterated, Hal lost his mind. He rampaged through the core, killing everyone in his path, and absorbed the central power battery, the literal Green Lantern.
Becoming the Emerald Tyrant, Parallax.
There
Good
was
name.
only one survivor of Parallax's killing spree, Ganthet. And with what remained of his strength, he gave the last Green Lantern ring in the universe to a human, Kyle Rayner.
So was Kyle.
Occupations, comic artist, like Superman, Asian movies, Gamera. Dislikes DC editorial, Jaws, love triangles. Fair, DC screws him. Enemy of Heat.
Figure out on your own. Hey, if Colonel Sanders, Daffy Duck, Space Wheat, and a sentient fox can master it, what's your excuse, Kyle?
The
Fair.
Green Lantern ring can do anything, fulfilling any wish its user desires as though it were a genie from a lamp.
It lets you fire energy blasts.
The Batman Green Lantern was pretty cool.
Affect gravity, turn invisible and intangible, manipulate matter, time travel, warp reality, and erase things from existence.
Think we're
Oh,
exaggerating? Well, consider
tons
the
of
time
stuff
Kyle
here.
stretched the fabric of space to increase the Planck length a
It doesn't matter.
billion times over. That's like stretching an inch into a light year.
Lanterns control time and space, letting them fly so fast they can create a speed force singularity.
I mean, Booster Gold can do that, so that's hilarious.
Dimension of space, requiring speeds that are not only faster than light, but totally immeasurable. And the rings have an artificial intelligence that operates just as fast, automatically protecting its user from danger.
Like the time that Boozer
Stage ring protecting him from the infected crisis on Infinite Earths. Also survived the crisis by using the sucker stick and analog to the Green Lantern ring.
Willpower and limited only by their imagination.
While Hal may have had the greatest willpower in the Corps, Kyle's imagination is unmatched. Probably because he's a comic book artist. And we know from this show,
Fair enough.
they think of some wild shit.
But the Green Lantern's most recognizable ability is their constructs, Kyle's speciality.
Samurai armor, pirate ships, giant dragons.
I wonder if they're going to mention he's a fan of Gurren Lagann.
computers, and his favorite, super fighting robots. Hey, that one looks familiar.
Kyle can make
Oh,
strong
never
enough
mind,
to
they
wield a
did.
Spectre, who weighs as much as eternity.
Or hold back a 12.3 dimensional Big Bang. Wait, 0.3? DC's multiverse
Yeah.
has 12.3 dimensions? That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Fair.
Things only
After
downside is that
relinquishing
it's
blah blah blah,
24
it will
hours
never
before
fully
you
run
use
out
it.
even if it cannot maintain 100% charge.
Universes, but it has the battery
Oh.
of an iPhone. Never mind.
So-
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Although
Okay, so he doesn't have the problem
Kyle's
of
biggest
recharging.
weakness was Kyle. With great power came no responsibility.
Perhaps a manifestation of Kyle's self-doubt. Any reflection came too late, though, when one of Kyle's villains
Yep.
brutally murdered his girlfriend, Alex, and put her body in a fridge.
Kyle wasn't the only one traumatized. This moment was so infamous, it started the trope called fridging.
For how female characters are often sacrificed as mere plot devices to further a male character's development.
So it might surprise you that it happened to Kyle again.
Kyle finally got serious. He became a prominent member of the Justice League, faced off against Hal, and even rebuilt the Green Lantern Corps better than ever.
But little did he know, this torchbearer's greatest journey had only just begun.
In order to save Ganthet from an emotional lobotomy, it's a long story, he had to master all the colors of the emotional electromagnetic spectrum.
There are 7 colors, each representing a different emotion. The yellow light of fear
Oh.
lets Kyle manipulate the worst horrors in your mind.
Huh.
The more scared you are of him, the stronger he becomes.
Bunch of stuff.
Fueled by bottomless avarice, possessing Kyle to absorb not merely his enemies' attacks, but also their souls.
Red is rage, ripping out Kyle's heart and replacing his blood with napalm. Which sounds
Yeesh.
like it sucks, but it's metal as hell.
Blue light is powered by hope and allows Kyle to heal wounds, resist mental domination, and supercharge his ring.
Indigo is compassion, reducing his opponent's will to fight and letting him open portals across space, connecting him to others.
The final one was the sapphire light of love. With it, he can trap enemies within crystal matrices and control their minds. But Kyle only mastered it by forgiving himself for Alex's tragic death.
Oh, self-love. I get it. Must be nice. And with their powers combined,
He
just
becomes
make his enemies taste the
Captain
rainbow.
Planet.
The lights of the
Oh.
spectrum merged, and Kyle became a White Lantern with total control over the power of life.
Wiz, I cannot think of an attack more useless in a death battle than something that
Fair.
lets you live.
Empowered by the physical embodiment of all life in the DC multiverse, Kyle is vastly more powerful than any other lantern in existence.
Far stronger than Hal, who could harness the energy of every power battery across the multiverse.
Not only can
Okay.
Kyle instantly heal all wounds, purify corruption, and resurrect the dead, the white light of life is strong enough to go up against threats to all of creation, like the Anti-Monitor.
Anti-Monitor's killing, I
so
guess.
It's not totally useless.
Especially after Kyle visited the Source and acquired the life equation. Essentially the Source code to reality, the life equation is mathematical proof that life is worth living.
With it, Kyle can alter all of reality at a whim, even threatening the new gods like Darkseid.
The life equation, like its counterpart, the anti-life equation, is a conceptual artifact from a higher reality, originating in a platonic realm that is, in a sense, more real than we are.
So it's not a shock that the equation made Kyle too powerful.
He struggled to control it, and it subconsciously manifested a being composed of his fears and anxieties. Oblivion. Kyle's greatest weakness was still himself.
Kyle spent his whole life struggling with the power that the gods granted him, and throughout it all, he always rose to the occasion, carrying the universe on his back.
But ultimately, the only way to stop power from corrupting is to spread it. So Kyle split the life equation into pieces to found his second core, the White Lanterns. And together, they shattered Oblivion, destroying the self-doubt that plagued Kyle once and for all.
Not bad for a comic book geek from LA.
Fair.
And now he was the one giving out rings of unlimited power to people who weren't sure if they could command it.
So he told them the truth. You can't teach someone how to use such power. You have to learn yourself, making mistakes along the way.
But with the power of life at their command, there's no end to their journey, only endless beginnings.
That was cool. Oh yeah, I'll talk about stuff now. I'm a bit confused on what they'll go with specifically, because they mentioned some pretty busted abilities for Kyle, but I think I'm still gonna go with Simone. The thing they mentioned for Nia seems similar to what the life equation could do. They mentioned potential outer stuff, I guess, for reference. Both of them had immeasurable speeds. His abilities still seemed a bit more powerful, so I think I'm still going to go with Simone, but I'm just curious what they're going to do. Alright, the combatants are set, and we run the data through all possibilities. It's time for a death battle! Okay, let's go! Nice!
Alright, I'm not rusty at all.
Alright. Oh, cool.
Hey dude, Green Lantern Officer Kyle Rayner here. Ring says you've got a Class A galactic super weapon.
Oh.
Whatever that is. I'm thinking it's the giant mech. Why don't you hand it over?
Reference
Lagann's
to
mine,
Ben 10.
officer. Just who the hell do you think you are?
Yep. Oh, Balrog. Cool. Oh, music sounds cool. Oh,
I'm told I'm bad with authority.
nice.
Tell me about it. 4!
Oh, man, this is so cool. Oh, that's a good way to invoke Lagann, I think. I forget which ones they are at times. Oh, there's another reference to Ben 10.
My drill will pierce the heavens!
Yep. Oh, that's cool.
Take it to Gurren Lagann!
Nice. Ooh. Oh, Superman. Bit early to get into White Lantern, though, I guess.
I'm a digger.
We do the impossible.
See the invisible.
Touch the untouchable.
Break the unbreakable.
If you ain't know,
Now you know!
That's cool. Oh, yeah, it still hits him. Animation looks cool.
I'm Simone the Digger! If there's a wall in my way, I'll smash it down!
Oh, Source Wall? life equation?
Stop fighting. Think about your fear of death, your love of your friends, your compassion for me, your hope for the future.
Yeah.
Choose life.
Have faith in the Simone that believes in you.
Yes. Man, you're so cool. Oh.
Take and tilt the Gurren Lagann! My drill is the drill that will transcend the heavens! Giga Drill Free!
Simone, come on. Simone. Oh, come on, Simone. Simone.
The super weapon wasn't your mech.
It was me.
Then, Simone, I'm taking you in brightest day, in blackest night.
Oh man,
No evil shall escape my sight.
this is
Let
so
those
cool.
who worship evil's might, beware my power. Green Lantern fly!
Simone.
Let's see you grit those teeth!
Simone. Simone.
You'd make a good lantern.
Simone of Earth.
Oh.
Chosen.
Just who the hell do you think I am?
Yes, he did it! Simone did it!
Snazzy sunglasses.
When both
Oh,
commanders
Raymaster's
possess
back.
unlimited power, it's hard to judge them by our normal standards.
He broke the streak.
Simone can hit an infinite number of targets all at once, and Kyle can fly fast enough to surpass the normal concept of speed itself.
When you control space and time, things like strength and speed kind of become irrelevant.
Instead, let's analyze them through a lens more applicable to beings as absurd as Simone and Kyle. Their
Okay, let's see.
imagination, their willpower, and their ultimate potential.
First up, imagination. The boundless things they could conjure to use against the other. Both could think up just about anything the other could, like absorbing each other's attacks, fighting across time, anything.
Simone did have a few attacks that Kyle hasn't encountered, like the probability-altering missiles, but it's likely Kyle could adapt considering his ring could protect against existence being erased across the multiverse.
Yeah, so we could not
In
erase
general, Kyle's
Simone.
constructs were a lot more creative than Simone's arsenal, which was mostly drills. Though again, nothing Simone couldn't adapt to with, say, his energy absorption. Imagination is a draw.
That leaves the other main factor for both characters, the origin of their unbelievable might, their willpower.
And that's really gonna be the winning factor here, since it's the source of everything for both of them. Whoever's got the stronger willpower wins.
Both can manipulate reality on a multiversal scale.
Reality where we
with their
could
willpower,
evolve
but we
to
can
counter
use dimensions
blah, blah,
to
blah.
roughly calculate a difference.
Others have
This
escaped
might
source
sound
wall.
absurd for most characters, but it's necessary for beings as beyond the pale as Simone and Kyle.
The multiverse labyrinth that Simone absorbed contained 11 spatial dimensions. That's 1.3 dimensions less than the multiverse Kyle's power can threaten.
And remember, each numbered dimension infinitely surpasses the one below it.
Which meant Kyle's willpower was stronger at a base level. However, that doesn't necessarily
Larger scopes,
mean
most
Kyle gets the
interpretations
edge, because if there's one thing both
would
of these
favor
guys are known
being
for,
larger,
it's
giving
that
it
they
equally
can
away.
always get stronger.
So to determine the limits of their willpower, we first need to understand their full potential.
Simone's whole deal with spiral power is how he can constantly evolve to get stronger. So just because Simone starts off weaker doesn't mean he'll stay that way.
Absorbing the multiverse labyrinth required Simone to leapfrog several orders of infinity in an instant. Simone made himself that much stronger through sheer force of will.
More than enough to
Yeesh.
close the gap with Kyle, especially since spiral power also lets him regenerate his body down to an informational level. Kyle's never destroyed something that thoroughly before.
Without the ability to easily kill Simone, it was only a matter of time before Kyle's
He can do the same against Kyle's healing. Okay.
Especially since Simone could likely regenerate for at least a week straight, like Nia did. While Blue Lantern Light could boost Kyle's power, he's never jumped several orders of infinity in strength like Simone has.
And while Kyle could manipulate emotions,
Theoretically maintain a charge by
Simone's
fueling his
willpower,
ring.
Simone resisting
However,
the
even as
labyrinth's
White Lantern, his ring has been
mental
overtaken and nullified.
meant he could power through anything Kyle threw at him.
Everything, that is, except for the life equation. It originated from a higher level of reality and would have more than even the odds.
And Kyle couldn't control it. It was just as much a detriment to him as an asset, forcing him to relinquish it to keep from destroying reality and himself.
Compare that to Simone, who merged with a version of himself writing a version of Gurren Lagann, and using spiral power to make that fiction into reality.
A pretty similar level of reality to the life equation, and a level of power Simone had no trouble embracing and mastering by the end of his story. No matter how you look at it, Simone might start weaker, but his peak will always transcend Kyle's. Isn't that how all of Simone's battles usually go anyway? That's Gurren Lagann in a nutshell.
So Simone's incredible potential eclipsed Kyle, which means his willpower was ultimately greater. Kyle may have embodied life itself, but Simone's unstoppable evolutionary potential would shatter even this lantern's light.
I hope Kyle at least dug the fight, because when it comes to death battle losers, he was a dead ringer.
The winner is Simone the Digger.
Next
Congrats,
time
Simone.
on Death Battle.
What's next? Oh! That's cool.
Subscribe and join as a member to see more Death Battle. Thanks for watching.
They said it was a long time coming, so I was curious a bit of what it could be, but I'm happy it's Wily versus Tom. I would normally try to join the G1 for that, but this one I'm kind of just tired. What else to think about? Anyway, that fight was amazing, and Simone winning was amazing. Like, I had some doubts that he could actually do it, but he did it. He beat the DC win streak. I'm so happy, man. That was a great episode, and I'm psyched for Wily versus Tom. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that again, but that was a great episode. Probably one of the best of the year, if not the best. Well, don't really have much else to say other than the episode rocked and epic. So, thanks for watching, y'all, and I'll see you for Wily vs. Tom about frickin' time.